No matter what your prior experience or current skill level is, I think if you are injury-free and in reasonably good health, you can start trail running right now. Literally right now. I wouldn't even be offended if you hit pause on this video, went and got a quick trail run in, and then came back to finish the video later. But if you didn't hit pause, or if you did and just got back, welcome back. We'll talk about 4 things. First, what makes trail running so great? Second, where to start depending on your base fitness level or prior experience. Third, gear you might want. Fourth, how to find trails near you. And I'll give you 6 quick tips at the end, so stick around for those. This shirt that I am so proudly wearing is from my first trail 5K, and I have absolutely loved trail running ever since. But what is it about trail running that makes it so amazing? This will be a little different for everybody, but let me tell you why I love it. For me, it is fantastic escape from daily life. Work, computers, news, social media, whatever. I just love getting away. And for me, trail running does that even more so than just regular running through the neighborhood. If I've got my feet on the trails, it means I've left the city behind. My head is never more clear than when I'm running the trails. It's hard to explain and might even sound a little bit weird, but there's just something about pounding out a trail run that makes me feel so connected to the earth and to nature. It's something you really have to experience to appreciate. Trail running is also fantastic for your overall fitness. I'm obviously not a fitness model, but what I can tell you, because I wear my Garmin on all of my trail runs, is that nothing gets my heart pumping harder than trying to power up a steep incline on the trails. Whew. Going up again. It's also really good for your overall leg strength, including all those little supporting muscles within your legs. If you think about the type of terrain you encounter on the trails when compared to the road, it's obviously a lot more varying terrain on the trails, so your legs really have to level up to handle it. So if you want those legs swimsuit or short ready, hit the trails. That brings us to the second point. What kind of base fitness or prior experience do I need to really get out and enjoy the trails? Honestly, my answer is none. Like I said in the beginning, I think if you're in reasonably good health and injury-free, you can go start enjoying trail running today. If you're interested in trail running, it's probably because either you've done some hiking and you enjoy spending time on the trails already, or you've been doing some road running and want to take your running to the dirt. So let's talk about both scenarios. If you're into hiking and just want to pick up the pace a little bit, the best thing you can do is while you're hiking, just run for 1 or 2 minutes and then stop and take a walking break. Now, if you've done some road running in the past and now you really want to get your running shoes in the dirt, the one thing I'll tell you is you have to throw pace out the window. We'll talk more about this later, but just go enjoy time on the trails. Don't worry about your pace. And that's really it. I don't think you need other prior experience or a lot of base fitness. Start where you are, and eventually you'll be running long miles on the trails and loving it. Now for my favorite topic, gear. There's a lot, so I've laid it out in front of me. Let me show you all the gear that you need to get started. That's right, nothing, except for maybe some running shoes. And if you're one of those crazy barefoot runners, you don't even need that. Don't get me wrong, I love nerding out about gear. I will show you some gear that I think will be helpful as you start trail running, but to get started, you don't need anything special. These are the shoes that I ran my first trails in. They are not trail shoes. You can see where the rocks on the trails even scuffed up the bottoms. These aren't meant for trail running, but I wanted to try it out first before I really invested in some trail shoes. If you have some running shoes or other athletic shoes, use those and try it out. Don't wait to get started because you're too busy researching shoes and gear. Get out there and run some trails. Let's talk about some gear that may help as you get started, but you don't need any of this to get started. Have I said that enough times? I think that I have. First up, trail shoes. If you know you're going to love trail running or you just really need an excuse to buy another pair of running shoes, get some trail shoes. They do make a really big difference. They've got extra grip, they're built out of ultralight materials, they're very comfortable on the trails. There are so many different kinds of trail shoes out there. I think the best thing you can do is go to your local running shop, try on as many pairs as you can, and get the ones that work for you. If you really don't want to go into the store, find an online retailer where you can order a bunch of shoes and return the ones that you don't want. Next up, hydration. Trail running can be really tough, so you may need to drink more water than you're used to on your regular runs or hikes. Hydration will make a really big difference. There's a couple of different ways you can carry water with you on the trails. One of them is a handheld water bottle. This is a Nathan Speedmax. I did a video on it. I'll put a link to it up here, but there's lots of different kinds of handheld water bottles. The other thing you'll see a lot of people wearing is a hydration vest. I love this one. It's by Nathan. It fits a lot of water. You can put a liter in the back. You can put some soft flasks in the front. When you're just starting out, you probably don't need that much water, but this is a great option when your runs start to get longer. There are also hydration belts. I've never tried these. Some people love them. That's another option. Next up, socks. I love no-show socks. That's what I always wear. But when I started running trails, I realized that no-show socks let rocks and dirt slide into my socks, and it was really uncomfortable. So I purchased some socks that go a little bit higher on my ankle. They have really nice one like this features. I think these are $15 a pair. Don't tell my wife. Or you can get some cheaper ones off of Amazon. Get some nice lightweight materials because it'll help keep your feet dry and comfortable on the trails. Next up, a buff. If you've seen videos of trail runners, you've probably seen a lot of them with this around their neck. I know when I first started, I thought it was a little bit weird, and it took me a while, but now I hardly ever go trail running without one. If it's a little bit chilly outside, just putting this around your neck makes a really big difference in your body temperature. I've also used it as a sweatband, make my headlamp more comfortable, to wipe dirt and grime off of my face during a run. I've used it as a mask if it's really windy outside. So many uses for a buff. Are you even trail running if you're not wearing a buff? I don't know. And last, a hat. This is my official trail running hat, as you can probably tell by the gross sweat stains up here. I love it on the trails. It keeps the sun out of my eyes. It acts as a sweatband. It's just really nice. So consider getting a hat. Those are things you might want to consider as you get started. Is there other gear you can buy? Of course. There is no end to the trail running gear out there that you can get. And if you find something else that you love, or if you think there's something else that would be really helpful to somebody who's starting out, let me know in the comments what it is. But I really don't think you need that much to get started. The best thing you can do is just get out there in the trails. The fourth thing is how to find trails close to you. There's a couple of different ways. I think the best way is go into your local running shop, find some people there who love to run trails. They can probably point out some great ones for beginners and those that are close to your area. Another great way is to join a local trail running Facebook group. Depending on where you live, there may be one specific to your area, but even if there's not, just join a larger group and then look for comments relating to where you live. And this could even help you get connected to other trail runners in your area, which can make trail running even more fun. If you don't want to join a Facebook group, or if you can't find anything in your area, one great way that I found really useful is the AllTrails app. It uses your GPS location to find trails close to you, and then you can easily filter by so many different things, including running, how difficult the trail is, how long, how much elevation gain you want to get, and even whether or not the trail is dog friendly, which for me makes a big difference since I like to run with my two huskies, Luna and Kaya. If you have other methods of finding trails close to you or when you travel, let me know in the comments what they are. Now for the 6 quick tips. Tip number 1, walking is okay. Even when you've been trail running for a while, especially on steep inclines, a lot of people take walking breaks.
We are taking a quick walking break.
Depending on how steep it is and what the terrain is like, walking may even be faster and definitely more efficient for your body than trying to run up something really steep. Don't be afraid to take a quick walking break. Bring your heart rate down and then get back to running when things level out or you start going downhill. Tip number 2, if you're used to road running, do not worry about your pace on the trails. I know I mentioned this briefly earlier, but seriously, your trail pace will be a lot different than your road pace. And your trail pace can even vary depending on the specific trail that you're on. So especially when you first start out, just throw pace out the window. Instead, go for time. If you're used to running and you usually go for a 30-minute run, just do 30 minutes on the trails. Whatever time you're used to running, go for that on the trails and don't worry about how far or how fast you go. Tip number 3, you will spend a lot of time looking at the ground, either because you're trying to read the terrain as you're running or because you weren't reading the terrain and you biffed it and now your face is in the dirt. It's okay to look at the ground. You'll probably want to look 3 to 6 feet in front of you, and as you run on the trails more, you'll slowly start to move that gaze a little bit further out. But at first, you'll probably feel like you're just staring at the ground the entire time. And that's okay. Better to read the terrain than to end up eating the terrain. And tip number 4. If you're checking out a new trail, I really recommend hiking the trail before you run the trail. Maybe one weekend you go and hike it and the next weekend you run it, or maybe you just go up and hike part of it and then run the rest. This will help you identify potential hazards, see how busy it is, and just get a feel for the trail before you pick up the pace. Tip number 5, listening to music or podcasts while you run. I know when I was into road running, music was critical. I loved it to help me keep my pace and just really get me pumped up for my run. I loved listening to music while I was running. If you're running single track or it's a mixed use trail where there's mountain bikes, hikers, dogs, kids, I really don't think it's a good idea to have music while you're running. You just need to be aware of what's going on around you. And tip number 6, no matter what the length of your run, make sure you're prepared for the conditions. That usually means taking more food or water than you think that you'll need, as well as extra clothing. The weather can change really quick on the trails, or an injury can make it so that you're out there a lot longer than you planned on. So make sure somebody knows where you're going and that you're aware of how busy that trail usually is and what you might need if things don't go according to plan. Always better to be prepared and be safe. There you have it. If you're just getting started with trail running or planning to go for your first trail run very soon, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. If you found this helpful, hit the like button below and then go get some trail time. Remember, life is better with some dirt in it.